Now, this sounds like a great video, how a cancellation attempt determines a career. With Shane Dawson, ain't this the dude that f***s cats?
Famous YouTuber eventually faces a cancellation attempt.
Of course, or in my case, you face 40 of them every single day.
What happens next can either make or break their careers.
Sure.
From MrBeast to Ruby Franke, who is sentenced to prison
Who the f*** is Ruby Franke? Is that MrBeast's mom?
for 30 years, here are 5 famous YouTubers the internet tried to cancel
Sure.
and what happened afterwards.
Sure.
Starting with IShowSpeed, who blew up on YouTube in late 2020
When was Speed trying to get canceled?
for his over-the-top reactions, unfiltered rage moments, and now his iconic barking. People loved his unhinged personality
Sure.
and his willingness to say anything.
I think the only time I've ever been pissed at something Speed did was him scaring the f*** out of his cats. That's pretty much just it.
To anyone, but it would only be a matter of
I'm
time
hoping.
until he took things too far. On the
Okay.
7th of April 2022, a clip of Speed playing Valorant and screaming at one of his female teammates went viral.
God
Obviously, you
damn!
don't know how to play the fucking game. 'Cause
What?
you suck ass.
What? Bitch? Is a bitch talking to me? Is a female talking to me? Get off the f***ing game and do your husband dishes, bitch. Shut up!
The clip instantly
Hey man, that's just Speed being a gamer, brother. That's just being a gamer. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, bro, you think every motherfucker ain't talking like that on comms? Like that, you don't know what reality is, brother. Hey, it is what it is.
blew up on Twitter, where Speed's critics would call him out for being a toxic,
Ah,
sexist
well.
influencer, saying that his behavior reinforces negative stereotypes and promotes abusive behavior, and that they wouldn't
Bro, they would probably have a stroke if they heard the shit I said on Call of Duty.
subscribe to him nor want to watch his streams if he acts like this. And things only got worse when Riot Games stepped in, banning Speed not only from Valorant, but from all existing Riot games.
Jesus Christ, bro. They're gonna act like 99% of their player base doesn't already do that. Such pussies, bro. Such pussies.
Fortunately, Speed realized pretty quickly what he said was wrong and harmful, coming out with an apology video on YouTube.
I wasn't having a good day, you know. I was getting a lot of racist text to speech, donations, a lot of people, you know, talking about my dead aunt that's in the grave right now. But look, I don't want to make that no excuse. I'm wrong, you know what I'm saying?
Which most of his fans forgave him for, but that didn't stop him from getting involved in another controversy on the 7th of December 2022, when he filmed himself repeatedly mocking a Chinese man's accent and greeting him in Japanese.
Konnichiwa? Konnichiwa?
No, Chinese.
Konnichiwa? Argentina?
Chinese. No konnichiwa.
Point, point, point.
Once again, his critics would come out on social media, labeling him as racist and saying that Speed gotta be actively trying not to succeed at this point, which led
Come on, man. Are we really being this big of pussies these days, man? Come on, bro. That's racist? Brother, go to a Walmart at 3 a.m. Then you'll experience racism.
to several media outlets picking up the story. Speed once again apologized the very next day on the 8th of December 2022, saying,
So I try to say Zhong Kong, like Tong Kong, like it's a nickname that they call me in China. I promise you, you know. And if it came off as racist, I promise you, I did not mean it that way.
the apology would get mixed reactions from the community, but in the end, they decided to let it go since Speed was still under 18 at the time.
Listen, man, here's the reality, right? The best apology is by just making better content. And I'll be real, Speed has made some of the best content on this fucking platform. So ignore these motherfuckers just trying to get upset over nothing. It ain't really even that big of a deal. Who cares?
Since then, Speed has started controlling his reactions a lot better, while still retaining the chaotic energy that he became famous for, which is probably why he's so massive nowadays. As of today, Speed has over 39 million subscribers on YouTube,
Hell yeah.
34 million followers on Instagram, and 41.5 million followers on TikTok. Not to mention, he
you
still
go.
regularly pulls in millions of views on his streams and manages to gather crowds like this for his international stream.
Where is IShowMeat? Where's bro's dick? Any of y'all see bro's dick? I don't want to see. Does bro got a hammer? How big was bro's dick?
Safe to say, the internet's attempts to cancel him have only made him stronger, unlike Shane Dawson, who was never able to recover after being labeled unprofessional and a racist.
Oh, I thought it was because he fucked cats. Wait, that's it? Unprofessional? That's it?
Dawson was a comedy YouTuber who rose to fame in 2008 and 2009 for his edgy humor, unique skits, and behind-the-scenes vlogs. People loved his style of shock comedy, specifically
It's bigger than microtones? Well, you know what's crazy? I'm the only streamer where a person has admitted that they were considering getting gag removal surgery so they can handle my massive cock, right? So let's just be real here. I don't know any other streamer that can say that, right? So let's just make sure we all know the microtone things, that shit, it ain't a problem, man. It ain't a problem.
His parodies of music videos. However, little did Shane know that the edgy style of comedy that he became famous for would eventually become the reason for his downfall. Because in 2018, when clips of him doing blackface and fat jokes resurfaced, the internet tore him apart. Unfortunately, these clips weren't even the most disturbing content he'd ever created. That would have to be his numerous videos sexualizing minors, including one very viral clip of him making disturbing comments about Willow Smith, who was 11 years old at the time.
Oh, Willow. Oh, I'll whip your hair back and forth. Oh.
Still,
Oh yeah, that's weird as bro. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't know who the fuck he thought would think that's funny. Nah, that's weird as shit.
it felt like the criticism against Shane was fairly tame until July 27th, 2020, when Jada Pinkett Smith and Jaden Smith decided to call him out publicly for his comments against Willow. You sexualizing an 11-year-old girl who happens to be my sister is the furthest thing from funny and not okay in the slightest bit. To Shane Dawson, I'm done with the excuses. This forced Shane to come up with an apology video that same day on the 27th of June titled Taking Accountability. He addressed the blackface.
Blackface was something that I did a lot. My excuse, oh, I was just being funny. I love black people. I'm not racist.
However, he still avoided addressing some of the worst allegations against him in detail, which made some viewers feel like he was deflecting and not being completely sincere in his apology, leading to even more criticism. How could an empath not realize making racist jokes might hurt black people? Following this entire incident, Shane disappeared.
Well, I'll be real. You gotta understand. They're jokes, right? And some of them don't fucking land. That does happen, right? Like sometimes you just tell a joke and it's just not funny. But not referring to that example, but in general, like how could you not tell that a joke might hurt people? Well, it's because your intention isn't to do that, right? And plus, you might be stupid. Also, claiming you're an empath, shut up.
Appeared from YouTube for over a year and briefly tried to make a comeback in October 2021.
But I'll be real, bro. Like some of my black friends, they shit on me nonstop for being white. I think it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get upset by that shit at all. I think that shit's mad funny. So it don't bother me none. It really is what it is. Like, I don't mind it at all. You know, I mean, just maybe it's because I'm harder than most individuals. But it really ain't that deep.
With a video titled The Haunting of Shane Dawson, but by then, most of his audience had moved on already. His subscriber count stopped growing and he eventually slowed down his uploads altogether, being more active on his fiancée Rylan Adams' channel, with the last upload on
He's gay? Get him out.
his own channel being on November 19, 2024.
Tectone is homophobic.
And the numbers speak for themselves, since his recent videos barely scratched 3 to 5 million views, compared to his older videos which casually crossed 15 million views per
Okay, but let's be real, right? Like, still getting 3 to 5 million views? That's good as fuck. What the hell?
upload. In the end, for someone with nearly 19 million subscribers, it's hard not to call that a fall off, which
Yeah, but I think we'd all agree, I'd rather been a has-been than a never was. And if 3 million views is you at your lowest, brother, that ain't that bad, brother.
honestly doesn't seem like a possibility for MrBeast, who's still the most subscribed creator on the platform despite his many controversies. MrBeast is the biggest philanthropist YouTuber in the world, who's made massive donation videos in countries like Kenya, Zimbabwe, and Colombia. However, his image of a perfect angel who only wants to do good has been brought into question several times in the past 7 years. The cracks started appearing back in 2018, when some of MrBeast's old tweets containing homophobic slurs started circulating on Twitter. Naturally, his critics on the platform came out in full force, accusing him publicly of being insensitive and promoting bigotry. However, Jimmy didn't bother making a formal apology video and just ended up quietly deleting the tweets. He also mentioned them briefly during some interviews, saying that he acted like many kids and used inappropriate language while trying to be funny. Other than that, he didn't pay much attention to his critics. Later, some of his fans would also come out to defend the creator, stating, "I said loads of stupid shit when I was a kid that I would never now. I don't hold stuff against."
Yeah, I think people forget how young MrBeast is. Guys, how old do you think Jimmy MrBeast is? MrBeast is only 27 right now.
people when
That's what's insane. Like, bro is 27. I've been watching that dude's videos for like 11, 12 years. That's what's insane. Like back in like the PewDiePie era. Like, I mean, I think the problem is that MrBeast blew up way too fast, way too quick, and he never got to experience what it's like to like be a kid and grow up and mature. And he's just been in front of a camera his entire life. So, I mean, obviously, I think MrBeast is whatever. I mean, I think he's an absolute fucking egotistical prick, like worse than me. I don't think he's a bad guy by any means, to be honest. But I do agree that the older I get, the less I enjoy his content. But that's because he's making content for kids. But I don't really think the guy's a bad dude.
And they did it as a child. Call me crazy, but I think people can be forgiven for dumb shit they say as a teenager and apologize for. And just in case it sounds like I'm excusing his past bigotry, I'm a queer myself. But
that's the thing. You should never apologize on the internet. Just ignore it until people forget it. It depends on your life. I'm a guy where I don't really like to think what the best play is. I just do what I feel is right. And to be honest, has that fucked me over a lot? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not really worried about doing any plays or whatever. I think if you're genuinely sorry, I think it's okay to apologize.
But his critics weren't buying it.
And if people don't forget it, well, don't worry about it, because you're not apologizing to be forgiven. You're apologizing because that's what you feel like you want to do. But that's just me.
And turned their attention to MrBeast's donation videos, where they accused him of staging these for views. Faking philanthropy videos to make you look like a saint is next level evil. Others claim that even if these giveaways were real, the only goal was to make feel-good videos rather than addressing the root causes of these problems.
Okay, who cares? Why is that a problem? Wow, MrBeast isn't solving the homeless issue in fucking Zimbabwe. Okay, well, he's making a video where people are getting a bite to eat, and it will probably lead to other people wanting to donate to other homeless people. It's still doing something. Like, yeah, dude, MrBeast came to Africa and he didn't fix the government. Why is this guy helping the poor?
Things came to a head when MrBeast mentioned that he spent more than $3.5 million on producing a Squid Game video, and his critics on Twitter exploded, saying imagine the people that could be helped with this money.
Oh, here we
This
go.
hypocrisy from his critics forced MrBeast's fans to once again come out in support, writing stop trying to cancel him. He gives out millions of dollars to those who need it. Sure, it may be games, but whoever wins them gets tons of money, and then they can help those who are poor. Even PewDiePie came out in support of Jimmy.
He spent $2 million building Squid Game, and people are like, well, he's not doing enough. Shut the fuck up.
Before Jimmy himself responded by doubling down on transparency and showing the behind-the-scenes content of all of his challenge videos, and turned his other channel Beast Philanthropy into a full-fledged non-profit. He frequently emphasized that YouTube money fuels philanthropy, and every dollar was reinvested into future projects. And the cancellation attempts died down for a time. Then, in July of 2024, MrBeast's best friend Ava Chris Tyson was exposed for being a creepy PDF file, as well as another.
Just say pedophile, bro. Just say pedophile. We all know what you're trying to say, man. We all know what you're trying to say.
Other employee in the company who was a registered sex offender. This brought up concerns that Jimmy hired a
By the way, I heard that Ava Chris, I heard they're detransitioning. Is that true? No? Was that just Cap? Okay, it was Cap. Okay, gotcha.
Registered sex offender, despite knowing about his criminal record. Although Jimmy did manage to escape the drama at first, Dogpack404, another MrBeast ex-employee, came out with multiple videos exposing Jimmy for various heinous acts, including running illegal lotteries,
and it was all proven incorrect and untrue.
Profiting off of child gambling, and coercing his employees into dangerous situations without their consent. MrBeast did respond to these allegations directly.
I mean, it's because there's just so much blatant, misinformation and lies spread. An hour of it is just flat out proving manipulation and lies, and caused a lot of harm to my businesses. I mean, I've literally had people pull out millions of dollars and then tell me it was directly because of his video.
And did mention he was gonna sue Dogpack.
Are you gonna sue Dogpack?
It's just unfortunate. Like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but probably gonna have to.
Meanwhile, he continued creating new massive videos with huge prizes on the line.
I think Dogpack fucked around, and I think he's about to find out.
Hoping that they'd take center stage and eventually replace the controversy surrounding him. And as it turns out, that actually worked. He's still raking in a huge amount of views on his latest videos, including all his donation and challenge videos. He's still the biggest YouTuber in the world, and probably will be for a long time, which isn't something you can say for Ruby Frank, who's
ain't nobody know who the fuck this is. I think the good common thread is that when you blow up in a space, people are gonna cancel you nonstop. Yep, and you gotta roll with the punches, baby. You gotta roll with the punches. They gonna keep going because everybody's looking for your spot.
currently spending time in prison. She was known for her YouTube channel 8 Passengers, where she shared snippets of her daily life living with her husband and 6 kids. People loved her harsh but grounded parenting advice, with many in the community looking up to her as a model parent. By June 2020, her channel had nearly 2.5 million followers and was on track to shoot past this milestone by the end of the year. However, that's when some of her viewers started taking issue with some of her strict parenting methods. A petition was even signed by over 250 people, urging Child Protective Services.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like 250 people, like low key, like not a big deal.
To investigate Ruby's household. The petition mentioned a couple of instances in Ruby's videos that could be labeled as straight up child abuse. The first instance was of her oldest son Chad complaining about his terrible sleeping conditions just for his mom to laugh it off.
Bedroom was taken away for 7 months and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
I was sleeping on a beanbag since October.
And another instance where Ruby avoids responsibility for feeding her 6-year-old daughter lunch.
Just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, so the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry.
Ruby responded,
people, dude, the internet cannot handle real life. Wait, she's the worst and in prison. Bro, my parents did this shit to me all the time. Am I just fucked up? I really don't think that, oh, you forgot your lunch so I can't bring you it is that big of a deal. That's not normal though. Bro, you cannot convince me that good parents are the norm. I feel like good parents are the minority. 100%. 100%. Like, bro, I went to school without shoes before. Straight up. If I missed the bus, I would walk to school. I feel like everybody has shitty parents. I really don't feel like, okay, maybe something else is coming, but taking away a kid's bed, brother, I didn't even have a bed till I was in 8th grade. She tied her kids up? Okay, well, we haven't got there yet. If she doing that shit, that's crazy. Okay, what's going on with that?
To the allegations in an interview with The Wrap that same year, saying that she was simply demonstrating what a responsible mother looks like. However, her channel did start losing subscribers by 2021, and it would only be a matter of time before she had to face the consequences for her actions. In August 2023, Ruby was arrested on child abuse charges when one of Ruby's children, a 12-year-old boy, arrived on the neighbor's doorstep looking malnourished and incredibly weak, almost as if he'd been starving for weeks. According to the officers who made the arrest, the child also had visible wounds and marks from tape around his wrist and ankles. Later, the police also found Ruby's 10-year-old daughter in a similar condition inside the home. Fortunately, both children were immediately taken in by Child Protective Services. The trial was quick, and nearly a week after her arrest, Ruby was charged with the following:
4 1 to 15-year sentences based on her convictions for 4 counts of aggravated child abuse.
Oh. Okay, that's real bad. Okay, you gotta understand that not having a bed and missing a sandwich is way different than tying up your kids and beating them. All right? I ain't never experienced nothing like that before. Hell no. I guess I had it good. Jeez, no, that ain't the norm, guys. That is not the norm.
And now the only thing she's being remembered for is being a child abuser who got cancelled by her own fans. A fate that feels almost impossible for someone as beloved as Penguin Zero. His classic white t-shirt and dry humor have made him one of the biggest commentary YouTubers in the world. He's never shied away from talking about other YouTubers getting cancelled. However, when you speak your mind as openly as Charlie, you're bound to make some enemies.
Absolutely, as a lot of people do.
In July 2024, Sneeko and Charlie hopped on a call to discuss their political views and differences, which was going perfectly smooth until Sneeko asked the following question.
Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting.
Okay, so as long as everyone...
Your parents are okay with it and you are okay with it?
Nah, hell no. Are you telling me that we gotta wait till 18 to drink alcohol? We gotta wait till 21 to do weed. We gotta wait 16 to drive. You gotta wait, with most parents, 18 to get a fucking tattoo. And you gonna tell a 6-year-old child that they can change their hormones and mutilate their body? Hell no. That is a huge decision, and that should not be done lightly. And you need to make sure that as much of their frontal lobe is developed before you let any child make any decision that huge. That's insane.
With it, I think that's totally a familiar decision to make. Yeah.
Okay, so a child can cut their penis off and take hormone blockers and change their biology forever, but they can't get married?
Leading to people saying this was a horrible take from
Absolutely,
Charlie.
it's a horrible take, absolutely.
I stopped watching Moist after that, unironically. I used to vibe with this guy. Charlie is gross. Supporting child mutilation is evil. This time, Charlie would apologize for his comments, saying that he misunderstood Sneako's question and didn't acknowledge the complexity of the topic.
I thought he was just exaggerating, being over the top, talking about the entire subject of transitioning. I didn't know he was speaking literally. Going to a doctor saying, I feel like switching genders, and they lay you down on the operating table and just snip your whole fucking meat off. So all that shit that people keep dogpiling and spouting about me about how I want all kids to go out there and get their genitals chopped off is just fucked up. I recognize I did a horrible job of arguing in this debate.
As a result of this controversy, he immediately took a hiatus from social media to reflect on his views. He wants to go on an indefinite hiatus to scale back his time spent on the internet. But as of today, he's back and better than ever. He had a close call, but instead of repeatedly trying to defend himself, Charlie focused on creating content once again and has been posting almost every day since the start of this year. He's still getting over 1 million views per video, indicating that his fan base is still as strong as ever.
Hell yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy these ones as well.
Hey, all I'm saying is, man, is that if you're a content creator and you blow up, you're going to have to deal with some bullshit, and it's up for you to decide on how you handle that. Will you fall or will you flourish? That's up to you. Great fucking video, man. Like, comment, subscribe.